Quote Retreat by Sandor. One quote, one reflection, one thought that could bring a moment of light and energy to your day. Join me as we take a look at today's quote. The quote is by Anne Rice. Born 1941, died 2021. It reads, "None of us changes over time. We only become more fully what we are." Let's take a moment together to explore the messages within this quote. Personal transformation. We think it's about becoming someone new, but what if the real journey is about uncovering who we've always been? Anne Rice's perspective on this completely changed how I think about growth.
That's such an intriguing way to look at it. What made you connect with her quote about how we don't really change, but just become more fully ourselves?
Well, you know what's fascinating about Anne Rice? She was actually born as Howard Allen Francis O'Brien, and on her first day of school, she spontaneously chose the name Anne. It's like even as a child, she knew who she was meant to become.
That's really powerful. And didn't she have this incredible journey before becoming the famous author we know?
Oh yes. And here's what's really interesting. She didn't publish Interview with the Vampire until she was 35. Before that, she worked as a writer and editor in San Francisco, processing her experiences and developing her voice.
That must have taken such courage to follow her authentic path, instead of trying to fit into what was popular at the time.
You know what's remarkable? She wrote that groundbreaking novel while processing the devastating loss of her young daughter to leukemia. The character of Claudia, the child vampire, was actually inspired by her daughter. She transformed her deepest grief into art.
That's so moving. How did she manage to channel such personal pain into something that resonated with millions?
Well, I think it goes back to her quote. She wasn't trying to change or escape her pain. She was becoming more fully herself by exploring it through her writing. And you know what's fascinating? Her connection to New Orleans played a huge role in this.
Tell me more about that connection. How did the city shape her work?
So get this, she was born there in 1941, and even though she lived in other places, New Orleans kept calling her back. The city's Gothic atmosphere, its unique blend of cultures, the historical architecture, it all became this rich tapestry in her writing. It's like the city was part of her DNA.
That really brings home the idea that our authentic self includes everything. Our hometown, our struggles, our spiritual journey.
Exactly right. And speaking of spiritual journeys, her path with faith is another perfect example. She went from being raised Catholic to becoming an atheist, then later returned to Catholicism. But here's the key. Each phase informed her writing in different ways.
So she wasn't changing who she was, just expressing different aspects of herself through different periods of her life?
Precisely. And look at how she did this in her writing, too. She wrote these complex vampire characters, wrestling with questions of faith and morality, then wrote about witches, and later even wrote a fictional account of Jesus' life. Each book was different, but they all came from her authentic interests.
That reminds me, didn't she also write under different pen names? How does that fit into this idea of authenticity?
Oh, that's such a great point. She wrote erotic novels under the name Anne Rampling, but, and this is crucial, it wasn't about hiding. It was about having the freedom to fully express different aspects of her creativity.
Well, that certainly challenges our usual ideas about personal growth and change.
You know what I find most inspiring about her perspective? It suggests that even our struggles and challenges aren't obstacles to overcome. They're part of becoming more fully ourselves. Everything she experienced, her grief, her spiritual questioning, her connection to New Orleans, became material for her art.
That's such a liberating way to look at life's difficulties. Instead of fighting against them, we can see them as part of our becoming.
And when you look at her impact, millions of books sold, translations in countless languages, devoted fans worldwide, it really validates this approach. She succeeded not by trying to be someone else, but by becoming more fully herself.
So what would you say to someone who's struggling to find their path?
Well, based on Rice's example, I'd say look at what naturally fascinates you, even if it seems unusual. She wrote about vampires when that wasn't mainstream, but she followed her interests and created something unique and powerful.
That's beautiful. It's about trusting your own instincts rather than forcing yourself into someone else's mold.
And you know what might be her most important legacy? This profound truth that we don't need to become something different. We just need the courage to become more fully who we already are.
With that, we conclude this exciting episode. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd appreciate a like and a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Thank you. Your support truly helps this channel grow. See you again tomorrow. Yours, Sandor.